Good evening, Seattle Kraken fans. How's it going out there? Friends, family, anyone and everyone watching tonight. Man, thanks for tuning in. What a game. What a heartbreaker, right? We're coming to you live again from the Sasquatch studio. Another episode of post-game rapid reaction. I'm your host, Mike. If you follow on Twitter, that's Seattle Sasquatch, at Sasquatch NHL. Appreciate all the support on both platforms. And I'm really glad you're here. So thanks so much for jumping in to watch the stream this evening. I really appreciate you guys being here. I've got a great show in store for you. And as always, if you'd like to hit that subscribe button or throw me a like or, just watch for a little bit, that would be very much appreciated. I want to keep you guys coming back as the show starts to grow and improve as we go. So tonight, man, like I said, what a heartbreaker. I'm going to give you my rapid reaction, the way I saw things go for your Kraken against the Senators. And, man, the fourth game of a 5-game road trip that so far has been a bit of a struggle, to be honest. Kraken coming close in a couple games, again tonight, but just not able to get that win so far back east on this trip. I've also got a great guest here tonight, one you should be very familiar with if you visited Climate Pledge Arena in the first half of the season. He was the first and now former PA announcer for your Seattle Kraken, Joshua Hunter. He's going to be stopping by to catch up with us here in just a few minutes. I'm going to get him logged in. We're going to go through the game first, talk a little bit about what happened tonight. So, the Kraken coming off their third loss in a row the other night in Toronto, where, they came close, but as Coach Hackstall pointed out in the post-game, they just didn't give a complete, consistent effort. I think he was a little bit not pleased on that side of things. They gave up 3 power play goals. Austin Matthews had a hat trick, and I feel like their game, it just kind of fell off at times. Gave up that early power play goal, and the flow noticeably sagged towards the end of the first, into the beginning of the second, and then in the third period, if you were watching it, the wheels just had kind of come off there late in the third. But again, they're facing some really tough teams here in the last few games against the Caps, Canes, the Leafs. So tonight, maybe we can take advantage of a Senators team that's also rebuilding towards the future, kind of towards the bottom of the league right now, results-wise. The Senators, they came into tonight 20-31-5. That's 6th in the Atlantic Division, 14th overall in the Eastern Conference. They had just won a game against the St. Louis Blues on Tuesday, 3-6-1 in their last 10, where they snapped a 5-game skid. The Kraken, also in the midst of a losing streak, they come in tonight 17-37-5. That's, again, 8th in the Pacific, 2nd to last in the Western Conference. They were just coming into tonight 1 point ahead of Arizona for the race to the bottom, and I think that might have changed. I got a message here. Anyways, we'll take a look at that in a little bit. They've lost 3 in a row, 1-8-1 in their last 10, 4-6, and they lost 4-6 to the Leafs on Tuesday evening, gave up, again, 3 power play goals. Penalty kill and face-offs haven't been that great. But they did mount a comeback in that game, which they did tonight again. Unfortunately, like I said, in the game against Toronto, they lost focus a little bit at times, too many penalties, and just not that complete 60-minute effort. So let's get to tonight's game. I'm going to give you my take. You can hit me with your take if you want to hit me up in the comments tonight, or even if you're watching tomorrow or later in the week. I try to respond whenever I've got some time, or if you want to hit me up on Twitter, that's always fun too. So let's get into tonight's rapid reaction. Going into the first period, we've got Drieger in net. Getting the start tonight for Seattle, Anton Forsberg for Ottawa. Hackstall mixing up the lines a little bit of a blender again. Maybe looking to light some fires, find some chemistry. Aiden Fleury comes in, Jeremy Lauzon out, Donskoy out, Donato in. So, Kraken, they're skating decent. pretty strong early, nothing fancy, clean first 5 minutes. I talked with JC the other night, so they got out of that 5 minutes tonight. So we head towards about 14:44 left in the first. They've got a nice little breakout pass coming up to Gord at the blue line. Gives it to Blackwell, who sends it a perfect pass right over to Appleton. Beautiful tip in, but unfortunately, Yanni Gord was actually offside. They reviewed the play. Goal ends up being disallowed, and really felt like that kind of changed momentum pretty quickly. Would have been interesting to see if that had stood up, how they would have played that the rest of the night. But anyhow, how things went immediately after, the Kraken just get caught sleeping, and that's going to be a theme here as we go. Ottawa with a nice forecheck. They get the dump in. Puck's retrieved. It kind of makes its way to the top at the blue line. They go point to point. A nice cross-ice pass right down there to Norris, who snuck behind everybody. He puts it in. It's 1-0 Senators, and the Kraken just left him wide open. I don't know how you missed that guy. He's their hottest player. Kraken basically just very lackluster in the first. End up with, they get some more. They have more shots than Ottawa does, but Ottawa clearly was the better team, at least from the eye test. I don't know if the stats panned out on that side of things, but overall I thought Ottawa had the better chances in the first. So we come into the second, right away, Kraken with another huge blunder. They've got 6 guys. I mean, it's good try. They have 6 guys on the ice, and that's a penalty for too many men. It wasn't even close. It wasn't like a bad change. They were just really trying to have too many guys out there. So Ottawa's going to get their first power play. Not much happening. Kraken kill it. And so we head under 15 minutes left in the second period. Ottawa takes they take advantage of a pretty poorly played puck by Alexiak. He turns it over to them. He's trying to exit the zone or pass up to his forward there. It's pretty, it was a weak pass. So they take it. They send it to the point for a big shot. Rebound pops out, and Brady Tkachuk puts it in. It's 2-0 now for the Senators. Alexiak, he's just got to be a little more decisive there. Stronger exit pass or get it up off the boards. He knows better than that. So we'll go 12:30 left. Keep going here. Another turnover. And this one's a killer. Larson just kind of fumbles it right at the top of the defensive zone. And Parker Kelly makes no mistake, makes it 3-0 Sens. 11:40 left now in the second. Kelly runs over our goalie. Kraken get, a little bit of movement going on the power play. Good pressure, good puck movement, couple shots. No breakthrough, though. So, 5:23 left in the second. Kraken take a penalty. Winberg goes for 2 minutes, and they actually get a big shorthanded chance there. Steal by Gord. He goes down, but Blackwell couldn't get it past Forsbergs. But that honestly was about the only good thing I could say for the second period. They killed both of Ottawa's power plays. Other than that, it was a terrible period. We don't want to think about it ever again. So we go into the third. Kraken maybe just, they're down 0-3, looking for some positives to build on, staring down potentially the 4th loss in a row on this road trip. Trying to simplify things early, get some flow going, getting out of their own end, but it just still feels like they're chasing the game. But things suddenly change. 10:46 left, back in the zone on offense. Got a good cycle going, some puck movement. Eberle sends the pass down into the slot to McCann. Fresh contract. Spins, he wires it top shelf, and it's 3-1. So, maybe a little bit of life, a little something to build on. Got about 10 minutes left now. It's, I think, 36 seconds later, if I remember right from the broadcast. And the Kraken come right back in. They're buzzing around a bit. They dig the puck out, get a good retrieval there. The pass goes up to the point, and Alexiak fires it in, gets a great shot on net, and right there, Donato tips it in just off to the side of it. It makes it 3-2, and Kraken have some life now. This is getting pretty exciting. You can kind of feel that momentum in the comeback building. Go down to about a little bit less than 8 minutes left, and they're just pouring on the pressure. You kind of start to wonder, can we do this? Can we make this happen? So they're back into the offensive zone again. Another good puck battle, which is really what was missing, I thought, at the beginning of the game. If they had brought it a little bit more early, this might have been a different result altogether. And also that reversed goal early on kind of killed them. But So they get that puck battle. It slides over to Appleton, and he buries it. We're tied 3-3, and we're headed to overtime. Pretty exciting game. The Senators look like they're the ones that are dragging right now, and but overtime it's kind of a toss up with the 3-on back and forth action, and then Giordano commits a tripping penalty. I don't know. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess, in overtime, but it was probably a decent call. It's disappointing, and of course Ottawa right away off of that power play kind of goes around the horn. Some good passing up top, and Norris gets his second of the night to bury the Kraken for the fourth game in a row, and man, it just kills you, right? But that's how it went. Looks like my guest actually just logged in here. We're going to go through the stats real quick, and then I'm going to bring in Joshua for a little conversation tonight. So let's take a quick look at the game stats. We've got the face-offs coming in a little better tonight, and then the power plays. Ottawa gets one power play goal. Again, it would be great to see the Kraken break through on the power play a little more often. I think that's just going to take some time. They're just not there yet. It's either maybe structurally they could change things up a little bit, but we'll probably see some more significant changes in the offseason. Power play is going to definitely need some work. We want to break down the shots here. So the Kraken kept pace in the first, but they were clearly not playing very well at all, I didn't think. Kind of the same thing in the second, and then the explosion by the Kraken in the third to get that comeback. Ottawa looks like they had the only shot in overtime, and it ended up going in for the win. But man, really hoping they were going to get that OT win tonight. Just didn't happen. Really a bummer. But you know what? You got to feel the lows before you can feel the highs, right? So, put that one in the back pocket. Good things are going to come. So tonight, I'm here with a really special guest joining me live. One that, in my opinion, doesn't really need too much of an introduction, but perhaps a little video walk down memory lane would best serve as his official introduction onto the show. Let's see if this, I've got a clip. Let's see if this memory jogs, let's see if this clip jogs your memory. Sorry. This is opening night from Climate Pledge Arena. I'll let his voice take you back to that moment.
Kraken Nation, for the very first time on home ice, it's time to release the Kraken!
Okay, so that's our friend Joshua Hunter, who joins us live. He was on the public address call, first opening night from Seattle. Man, released them out onto the ice, and he's here with us. Joshua, welcome, and how are you doing tonight? Really good to have you.
Thank you. No, I'm doing real well, and I appreciate the invitation to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, it's great. So I kind of like to do a little meet and greet. Maybe for those of us who don't really know you, could you maybe give us a little rundown, personal backstory, where you're from, and maybe even illuminate how does one go about becoming a public address announcer for the Seattle Kraken? I would imagine your pipes or your voice are kind of a big requirement there, right?
Yeah. Voice quality is a plus in public address, no doubt about that. Let's see. I am actually from Colorado. I started in public address in 2003 at the collegiate level, and have been fortunate to see my career kind of evolve since that time, where I've called games in college and at the minor league level, and then obviously for major sports. Kind of as far as how does one become the public address announcer for the Seattle Kraken, a lot of luck, to be honest. I didn't actually apply for that job. I happened to have been heard by one of the game day directors for the Kraken during an audition for another organization.
Okay.
About a year prior to the Kraken reaching out to me.
Okay.
So kind of in short, I was lucky that someone with an outstanding memory happened to remember who I was when the Kraken were trying to answer the question as to who's going to do public address. And so they reached out to me, and it just worked out that way.
Yeah, that's cool. Just the kind of happenstance and the situational setup there. It's pretty interesting. So you mentioned you are from the Colorado area, or from Colorado. Sorry. So if I understand that correctly, and I'm not sure a lot of the Kraken fans know this. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But while you were announcing for Seattle, you were traveling in all the way from Colorado, possibly like longest commute ever type of stuff.
That's true. I wouldn't call it the longest commute, though. It's actually a pretty quick flight, about 2.5 hours roughly. So nothing crazy. So the powers that be with the team, they did want me in the Pacific Northwest and more available to the organization.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, several attempts by the organization were made to try to find a position that would be suitable in order to make that happen.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my hardship was that I had closed on a new house in August of 2021, and there was no way, having only owned the home for a month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, that's really tough.
Sell the property without taking a huge loss.
Right.
And it just didn't make financial sense. So in actuality, there was 3 options. I find a position paying me enough money to allow me to keep my home in Colorado while I take up residency in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
The team just says thanks, but no thanks, and they find another announcer, or the team accept that I wasn't in a position to move at the time, and they travel me. And for whatever reason, they elected to travel me. So the first half of the season, I traveled into Seattle from Denver for game days. Obviously, it wasn't an everyday thing.
Right.
I would come in for several days at a time, stay in a hotel, and then head home when there was the team went back on the road.
There was that stretch in December. I think, if I remember right, there was quite a few games kind of clustered together. It seems like, but and then the snow.
Yeah, and I had probably, I think the longest I was in Seattle on a single stretch was 10 days.
Okay.
So I'd be in Seattle for 10 days. I'd come home for a couple of days, get on a plane, come back for 3, 4 or 5, something like that, and then come back. And then, so I was doing that for the end of October all the way through the end of December.
Right. Kind of that turns into a little bit of a grind. I mean, I travel for work, so I can relate a little bit, but I've never had that type of that rigorous of situation. So it can be tough on you personally and the family, and like you said, it's a fresh situation with the real estate and things like that. It gets very difficult to probably maintain that type of schedule.
I'll be honest with you, that at that time, the only thing I was doing was calling games for the Kraken.
Okay.
That was my job. So I had no complaints whatsoever. But unfortunately, traveling me did create a hardship for the organization. And that hardship would eventually be for pretty much the beginning of the end for me in Seattle.
Right.
So the team actually, or one of our vice presidents of game day operations had called me, and he had said that, we were getting towards the end of my time there, that the team had pretty much used up its entire PA budget in the first 4 to 6 weeks. Because of the amount of money they were spending on me to travel. So it became a thing for them. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's understandable. So, what can you do? I was wondering, maybe could you talk? You mentioned you did some stuff for collegiate. I know, between you and I, we've talked a little bit about some of the other things you do. Could you maybe talk about some of the other teams you worked for through the years? Maybe some of your more unique things or experiences that you've seen working in sports.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So several colleges in and around the Colorado area. So Metro State early on, Northern Colorado, which is a D1 school, competes in the Big Sky. Yeah. And then the University of Colorado, which is a Pac-12 school. Okay. So do a lot of work for those UNC and CU. I don't do much for Metro State anymore, but currently Colorado Rapids in MLS, still doing Colorado Eagles, which is the AHL affiliate to the Colorado Avalanche.
Right.
I just actually got scheduled for a couple of games today, as a matter of fact, so that's fun.
Nice.
Experience with the FIL World Championships is kind of the World Cup of Major Lacrosse.
Oh, okay.
CONCACAF Gold Cup, U.S. Soccer, and the U.S. Women's National Team. Been contracted to do the Maui basketball tournament.
Wow.
I've had some fun doing some Arena League football. Did the Denver Outlaws in the now defunct MLL. And most recently, I had the opportunity to call the last home game for the Denver Broncos when they took on the Kansas City Chiefs. So that, ironically, that actually happened the week that I got back after being let go from the Kraken.
Yeah. So, I mean, wow, that's a big resume, pretty interesting. So it sounds like you've seen a lot of different sports and things like that, and it's kind of probably fun to take in how people react to the different arenas and the different entertainment. Just talking about this with my friend a little bit. It's like people kind of view a public address announcer as this big booming voice from the sky, right? It's maybe a lot of people don't even think twice about the production and entertainment, just the engagement aspect of it. And for you, it's probably a lot of fun to do, but there's probably some challenges, obviously some skill involved doing the reads and the cues. And I thought maybe if you could just talk about some of the challenges and skills with that job, but also maybe your voice and things of that nature.
Well, so being the voice of a team is, it's an amazing thing. It takes a lot of work to get to a point where you're doing the Broncos or the Seahawks or the Kraken
definitely.
or whomever. Having the opportunity to introduce some of the game's greatest players to Hall of Fame singers.
Gives you some goosebumps when you hear a really good call and it's a player you really love, and really cool stuff.
Well, even introing like Ann Wilson on opening night to do the national anthem. That's an honor to intro somebody of her talent to do something that she specializes in, all the way to military members with, having the opportunity to kind of tell a little bit of these unbelievable heroic stories as to why, this person ended up with the Medal of Honor or whatever.
Right.
In essence, it's helping to create the atmosphere that brings people to the arena day in and day out, where they spend hard-earned dollars, and it's usually a lot of them. So
definitely.
They deserve a lot from game day, and being a part of that, it's very rewarding to me. Knowing that you're helping to create the environment where the fans want to come back to every day. A good public address announcer, and this is more of the niche of the position, but that should be someone that kind of blends in with the environment, right? If you're doing your job well, the fans really don't think twice about you. They don't really think too much about PA.
Right. Doesn't jar them out of their seats like, oh, what? That was a really awkward announcement, or just kind of out of nowhere, too loud or too quiet, or, wrong timing or something like that.
Right. And they're kind of getting what they're expecting. You're not detracting from the game. You're not, trying to insert yourself like the people are there to see you, because they're not.
Yeah.
But if you're doing everything right, really the only time the fans really pay attention to you, and this is the way it should be, is when you're announcing their favorite player or there's a goal call. Really, it's because the voice is kind of this affirmation that you are in person at the game and you're getting that full experience that makes what makes game day unique. You're getting all of it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a really cool way to think of it. It's almost like if you think of like how a song is mixed, all the different elements, maybe the PA would be just like, the lead guitar or some other element in a mix. You want it to just kind of blend in, right? Like you're saying.
I think I'm more like the bass guitar,
Yeah, there you go.
the guy in the background that kind
Yeah.
of fills in those spots of the song, but not necessarily people are really hearing it
Yeah.
without really listening. But uh, kind of furthering that is that, but you do have some very specific responsibilities, and that's to properly convey PSAs, advertisements,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you're doing spot reads accurately, concisely, correctly,
Yeah.
in a manner that prompts fans to listen. So, um, what makes that hard is that sometimes those reads can be worded funny,
Oh, okay.
or can be a bit of a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're probably seeing it for maybe the first time sometimes, or do you get a few read aheads, or does it
so a lot of the scripts have a lot of reads that are kind of cut and paste, from one
okay.
script to the next. It's the same.
Yeah.
But usually there's going to be one or two elements within the script that are going to be new, either because the show is incorporating something different, because we've picked up a new sponsor, and God forbid the sponsor actually is the one who writes the read, because they think that they're writing this most amazing piece of literature when in fact it's just not proper for what it is that we do at the arena.
Yeah.
um, and I've had moments where sponsors actually get upset if you change the spot, because in my mind I'm like, hey, I've been doing this nearly 20 years and this doesn't make sense for how it's going to get read. But
Yeah.
no, that's what we're paying for. You read it as it's written, and you're all right.
Right.
um, so
Yeah.
but I would say that the hardest part in public address is obviously going to be name pronunciation.
Oh, yeah,
um,
especially in hockey, I would imagine.
well, I will say this though, the NHL is amazing. It really is, because they provide a name pronunciation, a written name pronunciation for every single player.
Oh, nice.
They also have a media site that where they um, hire somebody that literally goes through every single player's name
Really?
and records themselves saying the name. Now,
Oh, okay.
99% of them are correct. There's a couple that are not.
Sure. Yeah.
Like Cheyenne is pronounced Shahan on things. So that kind of gives you an idea that they're not
Mm-hmm.
all
Some
perfect.
nuances in there.
Yeah, but they're pretty darn close, and it really does help when it comes to, because if you look at the pronunciation, then you hear the gentleman say the name, you're kind of like, okay, I can see exactly where the league's trying to go with that pronunciation, and so
Yeah.
they do a good job. It's unfortunately it's when you have, like, say, a military member
Mm-hmm.
who's being introduced and they've got a kind of a crazy name, and you're
Yeah.
like, well, there's about 9 different ways that could be said. How's it said? And we're like, I have no idea.
Yeah, you don't have the all the extra material like the league was providing
Right.
in the other case.
So you do your best,
Yeah.
try to make the best out of it, but usually it
Yeah.
works out okay.
Yeah, that's really interesting stuff. So just kind of thinking back, I think your last game was just before New Year's, right? So it's been a little while since you said goodbye, kind of had your farewell from the organization. Could you maybe kind of give us a little bit of a quick rundown on what transpired after you left, kind of in the days and weeks since you've been away, and what are you kind of looking forward to next chapter here in your career, and what's in store for you?
Well, after I left Seattle, that was December 30th was my last game. I returned to Colorado on the 31st. And like I said, I ended up the very next week, the very next Saturday, calling the Bronco game. But for the most part, I've pretty much returned to kind of my old routine, back to the same colleges that I was working for prior to. There's a few professional teams like the Rapids and the Eagles and stuff I do a lot of fill-in work for, and so I'm back with them and back on their call list.
Okay.
But beyond that, I'm seeking to basically take advantage of 2 specific opportunities that are coming into the area, or my area, that is.
Mm-hmm.
A project that's currently under construction not far from my residence, which is kind of nice because there's pretty much travel involved with every team I do. This one would be the first where it's not that bad. They're building a new complex that's set to be completed in the spring for incoming minor league baseball team.
Okay.
And a USL soccer team, which is professional soccer. The complex is known as Future Legends, and it will be the home of the Northern Colorado Owls, which is baseball. And the Northern Colorado Hailstorm FC, again, soccer. And they're set to be introduced to the home crowd in May or June.
All right.
And so my hope is that I will be in a position to compete for those jobs. And if all
Fantastic.
goes well, selected to take on both. But beyond that, it's just pretty much what I was doing prior to being hired by the Kraken.
Yeah. No, that's good to hear. And you know, as you go, I'd hope to see some more of those YouTube videos, like the clips that you provided tonight. Those are pretty awesome. And yeah, and maybe just a little deeper kind of into the departure. I just wanted to mention, you know, I went to the Kraken games pretty regular this first season, and being kind of dialed in on Twitter and message boards and things like that, there was definitely an impact that was left. I remember reading multiple posts and comments about, you know, the PA announcer for the Kraken, and you know, of course, I don't want to take anything away from the new announcer that has stepped in, doing a fabulous job there, but just, you know, maybe how much did it mean to be part of the whole launch of the Kraken and being the first one to, you know, release the Kraken, and maybe if you could just kind of express how much it meant to you. Maybe was it a little bit bittersweet to leave, and some of those memories you're going to take with you as you go.
Well, when I was with the Kraken, I viewed public address as mine. In the very beginning, there was still some hesitation. Even after the first 5 home games, I think it was, there was some hesitation to allow me to kind of declare the position as mine. But as far as I was concerned, the reviews, like you said, the reviews from the fans were pretty positive, which is a great thing, especially when you're opening the arena, you're opening up the season, a brand new season for a brand new team. It's
just everything's fresh.
And there's a lot of different ways that can go.
Yeah.
But I made it very clear to the organization how I felt, and that I didn't want to leave. Me leaving was not my choice. So I was told I would be stepping down. And to be perfectly honest, I mean, it was a gut punch, to say the least. You know, like you just alluded to, I have nothing bad to say about the new announcer. I believe his name is Chet Buchanan. I've never met him. We've never had a conversation. I've never been in the same room as him. I know next to nothing about him. But I mean, I've had a chance to hear him on a couple of television feeds at a few games that were at Climate Pledge, and we have two very different styles, I guess is a way to put it.
Yeah.
But he seems to be doing a good job, which, I mean, if you're gonna leave and you care about the position, which I do and did, you don't want a lesser product, I guess is a way of putting it. To take over.
Makes total sense.
So, but I have a bit of a personal bias, obviously, in this matter, because I wanted the job, you know?
No, I get it.
I think the hardest part about my departure is that it was a situation where I had absolutely no control over my circumstances to create an option where I could stay.
Right.
And that was the hardest part. And this isn't anything against the team. They did what they felt they needed to do.
Right.
But it's, for me, it's like, gosh, if I make one different decision, I'm just throwing this out there. Like, for instance, you know, if I hold off on the whole house thing for a little bit, you know, who knows? But at again, at the time when I was doing the house thing, this whole Kraken, the Kraken opportunity wasn't even on my radar. So there's no way to know.
Yeah. Yeah. What can you do about that?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I feel like I lost out on the job because of a financial situation in Colorado.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's what makes it really tougher to swallow. It's one thing if it's a performance issue, you just
Hmm.
weren't doing well. It's one thing if you're not getting along with your colleagues, but none of those things
Oh yeah.
had anything to do with us. It was simply because of what was going on in Colorado and my inability to simply just, for instance, take a normal job
Hmm.
in Washington and stick around because I'm carrying a mortgage in Colorado and I got to
Yep.
make enough money to be able to pay it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Got to pay the
yeah,
bills.
yeah. And that's what it was. I mean, it was a financial decision and the club just felt that they weren't able to continue with the status quo. And I don't blame them for that. I don't have anything to support it, but there's a good possibility with all the money that they were putting into this that I may have been the highest paid PA guy in the NHL for 2 months. And I'm
Very
not saying
possible.
that's the case, but it's possible because they were putting a lot. I mean, think about that. A club burns through its entire PA budget in 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, that's
Yeah.
insane. So
Well, I mean, you were very good, so it was definitely worth it while you were here. It's kind of interesting, like you mentioned towards the beginning of our talk here, the almost the irony of being discovered by the team, and then maybe kind of the unfortunate set of circumstances and timing at the end of the tenure. It's just weird how things work out sometimes. But it sounds like you've got some things happening, and you're obviously very talented, and I don't think you're going to have any problems moving forward. And it's just really cool story. And I'm glad you've been able to kind of share it with us. And it sounds like there's no ill will towards the team or anything like that. Just a really unfortunate set of circumstances that all kind of came together, and not a whole lot you can do when you're not making that decision. But so one other kind of quick question here. Now, you mentioned you went back to Colorado. You were able to fill in for the Denver Broncos. I've got a theory. Maybe while you were out in Seattle, and we just had the big news break this week, Russell Wilson got traded to the Denver Broncos. I'm wondering, maybe you were working the back channels. Were you in Russell Wilson's ear a little bit, telling him, hey, Colorado's a great place to play. I'm going to do a little thing for the Denver Broncos when I get. It seems a little suspicious to me.
yeah, I've got Russ on speed dial. It would be pretty cool to have some clout like that, but obviously no. And I will say this: the interesting thing about PA is that it's a pretty small industry when it comes to announcers. I mean, anybody who does major sports, a lot of us tend to know each other or at least have heard of each other.
Yeah.
And so I've known the Broncos primary PA for quite a while, and sent him a text message.
Yeah, you said he's been doing it like 20 plus years, right?
No, so the new guy right now, or the newer guy, is Connor McGahee, and Connor's been with the team since 2016. Prior to him was Alan Roach.
Okay.
Roach is, we won't get into Roach. He's he makes everybody look really bad. He's that good. So in any event, but I sent Connor a text message saying, I mean, the upcoming season is going to be really exciting, and it's, it is, because when the Broncos had a quality quarterback, a la Peyton Manning, we were contenders and went to 2 Super Bowls and won one and lost one to a certain Russell. So with that being said, we are finally in a position to where we're bringing a good quarterback back into the mix. And if we can get our ownership situation figured out, I think that the team is going to be instantaneously a competitive club again, which we haven't seen in quite a while.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun to watch it. I know I'm going to probably watch a few more Denver Bronco games this year, and obviously it hurts as a Seattle fan to see Russ go, but we've got a lot of great memories we can remember, and it was just an incredible run that they had while he was here. So Colorado, they've got the Avalanche, the Broncos coming up. I'm not so sure how good the Rockies are going to be doing, but going to be some exciting times in Colorado here over the next probably year, 2 years with sports out there. So pretty interesting.
Are really good.
Yeah, the Nuggets.
The Nuggets are really good. The Avalanche are really good.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos are on pace to be good again.
Yeah.
The Rockies are doing what the Rockies always do, and that's pretty much finish at the bottom of the division. But Rockies fans will ensure that Rockies home attendance is one of the tops in the league.
Yeah, that's
because
great.
For some odd reason, the team doesn't provide a winner to the fans, but the fans reward them with something along the lines of 34,000 per game average.
Wow.
And that, you could be an idle Tuesday or a Saturday night game. It doesn't matter. The fans always show up for the Rockies. They always do. And used to really go to a lot of Rockies games, but I don't know. I started having some issues with how the club was being run. And so I'm kind of on a personal,
little break.
Yeah. I want to get back into it. I want to feel excited about him again. It's just, I don't know. There's some things needed to happen, and I just don't know what those things are.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I go through my ups and downs with the Mariners, so I can kind of relate. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I know, so I'm pretty sure Denver plays in Seattle this year. The Broncos come in to play the Seahawks, so maybe around that week. I don't know when the date is exactly, but maybe we can have you back. We can catch up again a little bit, see where life is taking you, and maybe check in, see what's going on with the Kraken and things like that. How does that sound?
Oh, it'd be a lot of fun. Try to see if we can work out the scheduling, and if so, definitely make that happen. I certainly appreciate the offer again to be here. It's been really cool to talk with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun. Do you have any other socials you want to promote? I know you're on Twitter. You're at Mr. PA Guy with underscores. You've got a YouTube channel. Anything else you want to maybe drop before we log off here?
I really don't. I'm not very good at selling myself on social media. My YouTube stuff is nothing more than just kind of behind the scenes PA stuff, and anybody who's interested, if they find it great. I'm certainly not monetized. I'm not making any money off it. So, that is what it is.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to search me out, Joshua Hunter in a Google search will typically find me. So
right on. Well, thanks again, Joshua. It's been an absolute pleasure. Again, if you'd like to come back anytime, just reach out. But yeah, let's maybe pencil in a little chat right around Denver Broncos, Seattle Seahawks this next season, and catch up with you then. I'm going to take us out of the interview. We're going to play Your Last Farewell from Climate Pledge Arena. Thanks again, and we'll catch up with you again soon, okay?
Yeah, appreciate it. Hope everybody has a great night.
All right. So here's Josh's last call from Climate Pledge Arena.
Seattle, from everyone at the Kraken and Climate Pledge Arena, thank you for being a part of an incredible night under our roof. Please make sure you have all of your personal belongings. We'll see you back here on Saturday, January 1st, as your Seattle Kraken host the Vancouver Canucks. The puck drops at 7 p.m. I'm Joshua Hunter saying Happy New Year. And one last time, good night, Seattle.
So that was Joshua Hunter that joined us tonight. What a great guest. What a great story. We miss you out at Climate Pledge. But, we're doing good. We've got a new announcer, and it's just kind of fun to go down that memory lane a little bit and learn a little bit more about what PAs go through and some of the skill involved, and really unique and interesting story. So thanks for sticking in there through all that travel and doing what you did for the Kraken. And like I said, we will be able to catch up again soon. And if anybody out there watching right now wants to leave some questions for Josh, I can forward them over, or, any of that type of stuff would be great. But man, what an interesting job. Ever want to be the PA for the Seattle Kraken or professional team? Sounds like a lot of work, a lot of travel. You've got to really hone your skills, and really interesting stuff. So let's wind down a little bit. We're going to take a quick look at the standings, both for Seattle and for Ottawa, who they played tonight. Ottawa's going to move to 21-31-5. Still towards the bottom of their division out there in the Atlantic. Kraken, on the other hand, they lose another heartbreaker. They're going to move to 17-37-6 because that's an overtime loss. You still get a point, so there's a positive. They didn't play real good tonight until the third period, though, so I need to see some improvement. A quick look ahead at the schedule here. We've got the Canadiens on Saturday. And I'm not going to be able to live stream this weekend. I'm going to be out of town. So we were talking in a prior stream, maybe I am getting a little superstitious. I think I'm 0 for 4 now. Maybe if I take a day off from streaming, maybe they'll get a win. I hope they win either way. I'm not superstitious. Anyways, and then they're going to come home the 16th of March against the Lightning, and there's no place like home. I'm hoping to be at that game. We'll see. Maybe I'll see you in the concourse. I don't think we're going to have to wear the masks unless, you want to, which that's okay too. But yeah, should be fun. Going to get back home, play the Lightning, play the Red Wings, and then a quick road trip on the West Coast. And then at the end of the month, the Vegas Golden Knights headed to Seattle, so that should be a lot of fun. Once again, I want to say thanks a lot for you guys joining in, watching the stream. Again, if you want to subscribe, I'd really appreciate it, but I'm going to keep doing this. It's a lot of fun, something I'm enjoying, kind of complimenting my Twitter account. So if you want to follow me over there, that's at Sasquatch NHL. Same thing here. And let's catch up again real soon. Send me some messages, tweet at me, let me know what's going on. I'm going to miss that game as far as live streaming, but I'll try to be dialed in and see what the score is. Got a busy work trip coming up. So thanks for hanging in there, guys. I love doing this, and I'm going to be back, hopefully that next week. So hit me up in the meantime, hit me in the comments, and we'll see you again real soon. Thanks for tuning in tonight.